American Speed Association bumps and grinds its way into 1999. It's purebred short-track stock car racing with the kind of fender-crunching, tire-bumping action you've come to expect from ASA. So stop off and take a quick pit stop with us. Sit back and cool your heels. And come take a spin with the ASA. A new season is about to take flight. Welcome to Desoto Speedway in Bradenton, Florida for the Jani-King Commercial Cleaning Services 300 presented today by Grease Lightning live on TNN Motorsports. Hello again, everybody. I'm Rick Benjamin. Great to have you with us on this beautiful sunny Palm Sunday afternoon. We've got a terrific season of ASA stock car racing coming your way live here on TNN this year. Ready to bring you the season opener, 300 laps of tough competition today. Want to introduce you to one of my broadcast partners up in the booth. Jim Trado is back with us this year. Jim, a great 1998 season. What can we expect today and throughout 1999?
If last year, Rick, was any indication, it came down to the closest finish of the year right here at Desoto Speedway. Gary St.Amant had the lead going into the final turn of the final lap. Scott Hansen goes underneath him for the win. Gary didn't win the race, but he certainly won the championship. He is back to defend his title. First time since 1992 that a series champion has come back to defend the crown. Gary, however, has many contenders to worry about, including a driver named Mike Miller. The Jani-King Pontiac driver has won the last two season openers, third in points 1 year ago. Mike Garvey paired up with the Tecumseh team. Very excited to run that Chevrolet for the Lefebvre Racing team, return them to glory. Rick Beebe out of Kansas now has his team intact. 15 minutes from home, he's excited about his championship hopes. Looking down the list, we also have a young driver by the name of Jimmie Johnson. Back this year after a rookie run a year ago. Fourth in points, very promising driver with Pennzoil as his backer.
Jimmie Johnson, a guy of whom much is expected. He'll line up on the outside pole here today at DeSoto Speedway. Let me introduce you to the third member of our upstairs crew on these ASA broadcasts. Three-time series champion, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series regular Butch Miller. Butch, welcome. It's great to have you with us this season. What is ASA racing all about to the drivers?
Well, it's where most everybody that's in NASCAR these days seems to have gotten their start. It's where I got my start, and when I say start, it's a great series. It's a place you can finish your career also, and I would come back here in a minute. Great series.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Fitzgerald from AC Delco. We'd like to welcome you to the 1999 inaugural event for the ASA AC Delco Challenge Series. We at AC Delco are proud to be associated the last 10 years with the ASA Racing Series and their 32 years of successful racing. We'd like to thank you and welcome you to sit back and enjoy the race today on TNN Motorsports.
And we know you will do just that. Your starting grid for the Jani-King 300 being brought to you today by Grease Lightning. When speed counts, choose Grease Lightning multi-purpose cleaner. Let's show you how the 28 cars will line up. Jack Landis putting the Noah Yoder Ford on the pole at 91.321 miles an hour alongside Jimmie Johnson from El Cajon, California, the Pennzoil 44. Second row, Rick Beebe in the Meyer Stores 23, and Chad Wood, a surprisingly good qualifying run from the Madison, Wisconsin rookie. That's the Peel Motorsports Chevrolet. Third row, Tim Souter of the Racing Souter family from Necedah, Wisconsin, the Build-A-Mold number 9, and Greg Usher, another rookie out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, the Port City Racing number 45. Your fourth row, Eddie Hoffman from Westchester, Illinois, the Structural Transport 5, the Don Finetti Ford, and alongside the series champion Gary St.Amant in the Winch Chevrolet, the number 7. Row 5, Derek Gilchrist out of Raleigh, North Carolina. That's the Ken Schrader Racing Chevrolet for Grease Lightning. And Harold Fair, the veteran from Romulus, Michigan, the Pontiac, is car number 81. Row 6, Rick Miller from El Cajon, California, the other Herzog machine. That's the 22. We'll talk more about that great rookie. And Mike Miller from Woodstock, Georgia, now the Jani-King 18. Miller's been around, I think, since they first put air in tires. He's won 2 straight season openers. Let's move back to the 7th row. Mike Garvey from Muskegon, Michigan, the Tecumseh number 1, the Lefebvre Racing car, and Brandon Sperling from Mooresville, North Carolina, in the McDonald's drive-thru number 40. Your 8th row, Tristan Dupuis from Lansing, Michigan, a rookie in car number 11, the Go-Go Auto Parts Chevrolet, and Pierre Goulet from Mason, Michigan, in the Coleman Racing Products 43. Row 9 is Dave Sensiba in car number 6 from Middleville, Michigan, the Prestige Truck Accessories Pontiac, and Alec Pinsino from Windsor, Ontario, in car number 93, the Build-A-Mold car. He's the team owner. 10th row, David Doran from Cincinnati, the Doran Enterprises Pontiac, the 77. And Danny Doler, the Checkers and Rallies car, the number 21. He's from Edison, New Jersey, another rookie. Your 11th row, Greg Stewart from Four Oaks, North Carolina. The Keenan Lumber Company Pontiac, and David Anspaugh from Sturgis, Michigan. The Poor Boy Racing Chevrolet, the 37. Row 12, Doug Gregg from Indianapolis, the McGinley Vacation, number 53. He's a rookie. And the 00, the U.S. pipe car of Andy Ponstein, that is a Chevrolet. 13th row, Russ Tuttle from Indianapolis, the Coca-Cola King Richard Cigars Chevrolet, the 16, and alongside the CEO of Grease Lightning, the 03, All-Pro Series veteran, Ken Alexander. Final row, Alan Pinsino, a rookie from Windsor, Ontario, in car number 39. Shotgun on the field from Seville, Ohio, Don Thomas in the 04. That is the Top Gun Racing Chevrolet. Ready to go 300 laps today to kick off the 1999 ASA season. And we're going to show you what this racetrack looks like. It is 3/8 of a mile. Pretty steeply banked. Butch Miller, 12 degrees in the corners, 6 degrees in the straightaway, 60 feet wide. How many grooves will we see run on here tonight?
You should see it. It's a good two-groove racetrack. And what's neat about it is you have a little push in the car. There's a flat right at the bottom. And you put the left front down on that flat, and you can make them turn even with the push in it.
Jim, ready to go for the first time in 1999. Lots of excitement. What do you think we'll see here?
I'm excited to be in the booth with you, Rick Benjamin, and Butch Miller, a guy I watched growing up and actually helped you, Butch, win a race. We'll talk more about that as season goes on.
Making us feel both old, huh? $153,000 on the line for these 28 drivers today. We'll go 300 laps here, and Jack Landis, as we mentioned, the pole sitter in the Noah Yoder Ford. Second consecutive race pole for him. He wrapped up the 98 season at Southern National Speedway on the pole. We've got some in-car views for you today. Ken Alexander goes from 26th in the 03 car. He's a driver. It'll be interesting to watch his progress today. We watched him in All-Pro the last couple of seasons. He's got some skill behind the wheel, and we'll see what he does back there in that Grease Lightning machine today. Also today, we'll be taking a ride in the 18 of Mike Miller, the Jani-King machine. Got a bumper cam there for you, and Mike lines up in the 12th spot today. And we've got some looks for you from Jimmie Johnson's Pennzoil Chevrolet, starting on the outside of the front row. Which is Jimmie Johnson as good as everybody says he is?
I think so. You know, it's a new guy here, but it's a tough series, so he's got to be real good.
On the main straightaway, as we watch Dan Spence on the flag stand, Rick Beebe has brought his car to a halt. Eddie Hoffman as well, as they have a final word with their crews on the main straightaway. Now Beebe coming back up to speed. He is qualified in the 3rd spot. As we watch the field snake their cars back and forth, and Jimmie Johnson has stopped up on the backstretch as well. So first race of the season, maybe some things not quite settled down for these teams.
The drivers have been told that if they do want to adjust the steering wheel, they can actually do that on the straightaway. So I think that's what some of these guys will do. Then they'll get back into line where they had qualified.
And we're told that there might have been a wrench on the front straightaway as well. We'll show you as we go on this afternoon. ASA competition, and you do have hot pit stops, of course. And the situation here, very, very interesting. They use the figure-8 racetrack here at DeSoto Speedway to pit these cars. This ought to be like Times Square at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, guys.
I had to draw in my hand to show Butch how exactly they're going to come in and come out. But ultimately, what happened a year ago is the fast guys got in the pits first. There's 2 loops down there. The fast guys got in first, got out first. But there will be simultaneous pit stops for this race, regardless of what lap down or what if you're on lead lap status.
Like a couple of box end wrenches ended up off of somebody's car and on the surface, of the ASA officials right there to scoop those up and bring them in. We're about ready to get down to it. And Spence shows them a lap to go until we go green. Field's settling down. There we get a look back from the rear bumper cam of Jimmie Johnson's car. And if you've never heard of Butch Miller, I find that very hard to believe. There it is, 3 championships, 39 career wins, 222 starts, won 9 one time, one season, including 4 straight. Those 3 championships, a wonderful mark. And now you've moved on, Butch, in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and I know the ASA Racing has a soft spot in your heart.
Unbelievable. Who is that guy?
Well, that's why you're up here with us this year, and we're pleased to have you along. Field settling down, 28 strong. V6 power under the hoods of these machines, 2 Fords, 26 General Motors machines, a lot of Pontiacs, a lot of Chevrolet Monte Carlos. Pontiac Grand Prix safety car comes down to the inside. We're about ready to go. Great crowd on hand here today at DeSoto Speedway in Bradenton, Florida. We are glad you're with us on TNN Motorsports to begin the 1999 ASA season. The green is out and we're underway. Of Landis will lead lap number 1 in 1999. 1999. He's got Beebe and Johnson right with him, side by side for second. Back a little further, Tim Souter in the 9, and the 2-car of Chad Wood fighting it out for 4th. And Landis starts to put a little distance on the field as we ride with Jimmie Johnson to the outside, getting by Beebe for second spot. I'm surprised they could make the outside work early here, Butch.
It's looking good so far, you know, and they're not giving up a thing on the outside.
Landis and Johnson in your battle for third. The 2 of Chad Wood, that's the white car, and Rick Beebe in the Meyer machine, the 23. And Wood goes alongside and makes the pass. Jack Landis out in front in the 07, looking for his first career victory. There's Souter, Eddie Hoffman moving into 6th spot in the 5, and then you've got the 45 car of Greg Usher. He's a rookie. Johnson about 3 car lengths back as they hit turn 1.
We see Chad Wood on screen, Rick. He actually ran 5 races a year ago, and to keep his rookie status, you can run up to 8 races in any given season, or win a race that kicks you out of the eligibility. But what Chad did is he went to work. He's a 2nd-generation driver out of Wisconsin, and in those races, you ran Pikes Peak, Milwaukee, Minnesota, so bigger tracks let the legs stretch out a bit.
On board with Mike Miller, the Jani-King 18. 3 wins last season, won the season opener the last 2 years. Mike at the moment riding back in the number 11 position. Get that underneath the front of the car look going down into the corner. Busch, do you use a lot of brakes in a place like DeSoto?
Absolutely. And the slipperier the tires get as they wear down, the more brake you have to use. And you actually need to pull air in off the nose just to make sure the brakes stay cool enough, and at times you still lose the brakes.
Battle here for 5th spot. Hoffman in the black 5 on the outside of Souter in the blue and white 9, and they're right with Beebe. So that's really a battle for 4th spot. Eddie Hoffman, the former Artco Series champion from the Chicago area, to the outside, gets by Souter now, makes the move, and he is 5th. Beebe moves to the high side to cut him off there. How important is it to save ground and protect your spot here early in the 300-lap race?
Well, I think that Eddie Hoffman's doing the right thing right now. You need to get out there where you get clean air in your radiator, get clean air to your brakes, but he does need to get in front of those guys, because as long as he's on the outside, he's standing on the brakes, and I see him passing right now.
And a move for the lead. Landis gives up the point to Jimmie Johnson. Johnson picks him off on a slower car. So give the lead to Jimmie Johnson now in the Herzog Chevrolet. That's the Pennzoil 44. We're 5 laps into this one.
With Alan Pinsino slowing, that also pinned in Chad Wood, who lost 3 or 4 spots in the white number 2.
Johnson out in front. Landis now second. And look at Eddie Hoffman, Busch, just like you said, he made the move to the outside, goes to 3rd in car number 5. Beebe now is 4th. Tim Souter drops back into 5th spot. He's just riding at the moment. So Johnson from the outside pole dropped back early on, but he has now collected the top spot. Second, Hoffman in the 5, taking a look. The 2 Fords running today. Wants to work his way by Landis as they go into 3. Goes to the top side, and he's able to make the move. So Eddie Hoffman quickly into 2nd spot here. He'll go to work now and try to close in on the leader, Johnson. Now Beebe moves to the high side as well. Landis doesn't seem to be running as well as we thought he would after qualifying yesterday.
Qualifying yesterday, the guys who went out first happened to be the faster of the bunch. Jack Landis, a track he won the pole at a year ago, is similar to this one in Kenly, North Carolina. So if it's a track 4/10 or smaller, keep an eye on Jack Landis. He qualified well. My guess early on, Rick, is that he's just trying to run this race, be a consistent pace rather than set a blistering pace. I don't think he wants to be the rabbit at this point.
Jimmie Johnson is your leader in the Pennzoil 44 as he moves by the lap 37 of David Anspaugh. Eddie Hoffman in the 5 is second. Landis is 3rd. We'll be right back at DeSoto. Welcome back to DeSoto Speedway, Bradenton, Florida. The ASA AC Delco Challenge Series live on St.Amant Motorsports. You're on board with race leader Jimmie Johnson, but he's got his mirrors full of that 5 car. That is Eddie Hoffman in the Finetti Racing Ford out of the Chicago area. Hoffman has moved quickly through the pack after qualifying 7th. He's come to 2nd behind Johnson, and he wants to get by as quick as he can, Butch.
He does, and you know, I raced with his father, I believe it was. He was great at Ileana. If he does this right in this traffic he's coming up to, he should be able to get by for the lead. I'm looking for that.
Hoffman, 38 years old, veteran competitor. We mentioned he's a former Artco Series champion in the Midwest, now moving up to the national stage. They work by the lap traffic there. The 77 car, David Doran from Cincinnati, Ohio. Johnson in the 44 out in front. We are 29 laps complete of 300. Hoffman just taking his time. You can be plenty patient here in the early going. They are up in the midst of lap traffic now coming off turn 2. Lapping by David Anspa's 37 again, the 16 of Tuttle next in line. Hoffman a little sideways coming off the corner.
What I'm impressed with, guys, is how he's able to control this car. They had one shakedown run on the way here on a short track near home, near the Milwaukee area, and as good as he's running here with limited laps in an ASA car, just his 4th career ASA start, it's pretty neat to watch Eddie Hoffman in the former Bride Record Championship ride for Don Panetti.
Looks like trouble for the 03, Ken Alexander off the pace, and then the 07 of Landis, your pole sitter. Looks like he's cut down a tire. He's coming onto pit road for the first time today. So you get a look at the unusual pit stop arrangements here at Desoto, using that figure 8 layout as part of pit road here. There's the lead battle, still working lap traffic in 1 and 2. Hoffman takes a look to the inside, can't get it done. Still trying to work their way by the 16 of Tuttle. Let's go down to pit road. Brian Drebber making his way toward the car of Jack Landis. He'll be there in just a second as we watch the leaders haul it down into turn 1. Hoffman still taking a look at the 44 car. Johnson picking his way through traffic. Landis's car on pit road, and let's head downstairs.
Jack Landis, the pole sitter, came in with a cut down right front tire. The crew quickly got it off and back on again with a new one. He's out, and well, it's a tough early break. They're checking the tire over right now, and along with the rest of the crew, clearly there was something wrong with it. All the air went out. That's not good.
So the 07 back on the racetrack, but he has lost at least a lap. There's a look at the tire that went flat on the right front corner. These Goodyear bias plies that the team's run, it's a spec tire. Makes it pretty interesting. If you remember the bias ply days in NASCAR Winston Cup and Busch Series competition, cars tend to slide a little bit more, and a little more guesswork, I guess you'd say, Butch, in the tire business here.
Absolutely. The tire specialist on these teams is actually more important than it is in any NASCAR race, because air pressure will affect the handling of, drastically affect the handling of these cars on the bias tires versus a radial.
Johnson still out in front of the 44. Hoffman for the moment cooling his heels in second. Johnson will go to the inside of the Tuttle car. That's the Coca-Cola Chevrolet there. We're told that Jack Landis lost 4 laps with that cut down tire on pit road. Tough break indeed. He was your pole sitter today. Ran in the top 3 in the early going as we put almost 40 laps on the board here today. Now, it's not impossible to come back from that much of a deficit in a race like this. All the pit stops that we expect to see throughout the day. 4 laps, though, pretty tough mountain to climb.
Yes, but it's 300 laps, and, you know, I've seen it done before. I've actually done it a time or two myself, so it can be done, and he's got a fast racer. He can do it.
The 07 of Landis back on the racetrack. Here's the 7, Gary St.Amant. Second time here. He was second in this race a year ago. We told you at the top of the broadcast, the 1998 Series champion. St.Amant had this one virtually locked up last May. Slipped going into 3, and Scott Hansen took Ken Schrader's 52 car by him to the victory. St.Amant right now in the 7, up to 5th spot, running very nicely here in the early going. Gary qualified 8th today. We talked to him on race day at 11 o'clock this morning. He wasn't concerned about it at all. Said he liked the race car, thought he would do very well when the green came out, and so far he has been nice and smooth.
And we look to Gary as a veteran in the series, Rick. We did mention Bob Seneca. We did not mention Mike Eddy in the Open. For the first time in 391 starts, both of those veterans are watching on their couches. You are at home. Unfortunately, sponsorship shortage really for Mike Eddy, and Bob Seneca into retirement now. We may see him on occasion.
Here's a battle for 3rd. Now Hoffman, while we were away from the battle, has slipped back to 3rd behind Rick Beebe, and there's Tim Sauter getting by as well. Rick Beebe's on fire. Look at this. The 23 car has moved to 2nd. Now he's battling Johnson for the lead. They're working on Landis. They're in heavy traffic in 3 and 4. Beebe sneaks by. Johnson slips a little bit. They give Rick Beebe the point for the first time this afternoon in the yellow 23 car. So Beebe with a great drive going here. We have stayed green for almost 50 laps, and Beebe is just on fire. He is out in front here in the 23 car. Johnson to 2nd now in the 44, and Beebe's got a couple of car lengths on him. Boy, Beebe is showing me a lot in traffic here today. Johnson now clears the traffic. Crew's looking on. Pit stops will be coming shortly. We'll be back at DeSoto with more ASA action in a moment. Back to open up the AC Delco Challenge Series of ASA live on TNN today. I want to remind you, next Sunday, The NASCAR Super Trucks and late models from Nashville Speedway USA on TNN Motorsports. They always put on some wild races. It's next Sunday at 3 Eastern and Pacific, the Nashville Twin 100s, right here on TNN Motorsports. And right here, the ASA AC Delco Challenge Series season opener. Rick Beebe in the yellow 23 car, the Meyer Stores machine, your leader. But Gary St.Amant in the wins number 7, the late automotive car you see there. We go on board with third place, Jimmie Johnson. St.Amant had reeled Beebe in, but now he's stuck behind a lap car again. And we've got trouble on the backstretch. The 77 spins. That's David Doran's machine out of Cincinnati. And we've got trouble also up in turn 3. Harold Fair in the 81 and 2 of the Pinsino cars. Alec and Allen involved up there. So we've got our first caution of the afternoon on lap number 80. And a lot of these teams, I would think, would be welcome to see that right now.
I would think so, Butch. Looking at how the track may be breaking up a bit, these guys, I would guess, want to put fresh rubber on at this point.
Well, they do. And what it looks to me like is the track is coming up there in turn 3, and they have to be single file. And they have to be single file on the apron. If they're not, the guy on the outside is going to spin out, and I believe that's what happened there.
Back live, and the green has just come back out here at Desoto Speedway, Bradenton, Florida. Your leader, Jimmie Johnson in the 44, but Tim Sauter in the 9 has given him everything he can handle right now. Jack Landis in the 07 got one of his laps back, and he's holding things up, but there goes Sauter to the inside, as Landis is pretty quick at the moment, and Sauter grabs the lead for the first time today. We showed you how the other 2 team cars, the 2 Pinsino machines, had got caught up in that wreck that brought out the yellow, but now the third car has taken over for the first time today. Tim Sauter out of Wisconsin in the Moltplas Chevrolet. He's got Johnson right behind him, and you're on board with Jimmie Johnson. Here's that look we told you about, dropping down to the flat part of the track in 3 and 4 to avoid the patch job that's been done there. And here's Johnson right back now underneath Sauter. Side by side on the back straightaway, and give Johnson back the lead. Third time this afternoon he's had the point. Car, and he is just pulling away there from Sauter.
Tim Sauter did get Jimmie on the jump, but maybe Jimmie's car is set up for the longer run. Brand new right side Goodyear Eagles on these cars. Maybe it takes him a few laps, and Sauter had a better restart. And what's amazing about Tim Sauter's deal, he built that car himself in his own garage. Then he went working full-time in Windsor, Ontario, starting March 1 with the Pinsino. So he's very hands-on with this operation.
Take a look back. There's the 40 of Brandon Sperling and the 18 of Mike Miller. This is a battle for 7th spot. Sperling in the drive-through crew. The McDonald's machine has 7th. Miller all over him, trying to take the spot away. Remember, we told you about Miller, the cagey veteran racing out of Georgia these days. He has won the last 2 season openers for ASA.
Butch, it looks like they're almost in the grass in turns 3 and 4.
They're going right down on the flat. They just don't dare go through that the part of the asphalt that's being torn up. It makes for exciting passing, because the pass has to be all the way done by the time they get to 3. So they've got from turn 4 to 3 to get it done.
Now, is that better than the driver's seat, Butch, if you're 2 inches off the rear bumper of the guy ahead of you?
I don't know if that's better than the driver's seat, but it's as good as.
Mike Garvey now moving up into contention as well. He is 9th in the 1 car, the Lefebvre Racing machine. That's the Tecumseh Chevrolet. He's right behind Miller, and they're behind Sperling. So you've got 7th, 8th, and 9th on the board right there. 100 laps on the board. We're a third of the way home this afternoon at DeSoto Speedway, Bradenton, Florida. Great to have you with us live on TNN Motorsports. Season opener for the ASA AC Delco Challenge Series today. Good battle on the racetrack. DeSoto, a very impressive facility here. 3/8 of a mile. We showed you at the top of the broadcast, 12 degrees banking in the corners, 6 degrees on the straightaways. Sperling gets kicked sideways, trouble up in 3. Sperling goes around, everybody else stays straight. Brandon Sperling loses several positions, and we've got caution on the speedway. Sperling gets it pointed in the right direction. He was running along nicely there in 7th spot in front of Miller and Garvey, but coming out of 4, you knew that was going to happen sooner or later, that somebody was going to get a little too eager coming off that spot.
I think what this also provides is an opportunity, Butch, as you know, in ASA, only 2 tires per caution can be changed. It's only been 20 laps for these guys, so they can actually really race with 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles if they indeed pit this time, maybe for left sides.
Yes, it can. But what it also did is it gave Landis an opportunity to get that lap back.
Let's show you what happened here going into 3. There's Miller right behind the 40 of Sperling. He's coming up on Anspaugh's car, and looks like he just got away from him there.
I think you're going to see more and more of that as the race goes on. We need to keep our eye on that corner because that looks like a good way to pass to me.
Back live, Desoto Speedway in Bradenton, Florida. Rick Benjamin, Butch Miller, Jim Trado upstairs. Down below, Brian Drebber on pit road for us. Green has come back out. 114 laps complete. Your leader in the 9 car. Tim Sauter for the second time this afternoon. Now, just moments ago, really, Jimmie Johnson was able to reel him in and go by for the lead. Johnson just got freight trained when the green came back out. He is all the way back in 8th spot. You're on board with Mike Miller and the Jani-King Pontiac, the 18. He is 6th, and he's tracking down right at the moment the 5 of Eddie Hoffman. Hoffman is 5th. Now, Hoffman has been a contender all afternoon long as well. He's hung right in there after the last round of pit stops. We just had our second caution. Miller trying the outside up in 3 and 4. That is not the place to be. Able to keep it under control. Didn't lose control of the car there. Taking a look at the back end of the Don Finetti Ford being wheeled by the young, not the youngster, but the young veteran, we'll say. Hoffman is 38 years old, been around quite a while. Making his first full-time venture into ASA this year. You can see the black and yellow rookie stripe on the back corner of the 5 there a moment ago. Mike Miller is about as much of a veteran as you can find in this series. He's been around an awfully long time, took a long hiatus from the sport back a couple of years ago, and he has been very, very strong. Hoffman is 5th. We've got a spin up in 2 as we watch Hoffman down the main straightaway. And it looks as though caution will be on the speedway. The 00 going around once again. That's the car we talked about earlier. Andy Ponstein, Grand Haven, Michigan, the U.S. Pipe Chevrolet looping it, coming out of the second corner. And almost lost it again there, it looked like, coming out of 4. They taped that car back together. He's the driver that climbed up on the back end of one of the other machines as we were getting ready to go green several laps back. And get a look at the 93 car. That's the Pinsonoma car, the Alec Pinsonoma machine. He was involved in the big jam up we had in turn 3 and 4. He and his son Alan in the 39, and there's a look at the 81 of Harold Fair, the 3rd car that was caught up in that one about 40 laps ago. So 119 complete. Caution for the 3rd time here this afternoon.
Butch and I nearly lost our breath when Jimmie Johnson went through turn 3. It looked like he was trying, Butch, to make an outside pass, but I think he ended up near the turn 4 wall and almost made contact.
Well, I was watching over there, and it looked like there was almost a second groove coming back, and I think maybe that's what he thought, because he tried it and it didn't work.
This may give an opportunity to Sauter and to Gilchrist, who did not pit that last caution through, and see if Gilchrist, who's running second in his first ASA race, may pit.
Gilchrist drops down low, kind of has that look as though he's going to dive on the pit road. Take a listen
behind that 77, 3 cars up there.
Radio Ken Alexander in the 03, and here comes the 52 of Gilchrist and a host of other cars down on the pit road. Dave Sensima's car badly damaged as well. He comes out of pit road at the 6. Take a look at what happened to Jimmie Johnson as we watch Hoffman and Mike Miller down the back straightaway. Down into 3. There's Gary St.Amant, a little contact there. Hoffman got into the back end of St.Amant. Miller really had to check up hard. And there goes Johnson. That's what you were seeing, Butch.
What do you say when that happens, Butch? Something like yeehaw or oh bleep?
Well, you save your yeehaw for when you get out of the straight and everything's okay again.
Forward to heading back to Nashville Speedway, USA. Green and going. Lap 125 into the books. 175 left. We look at Tristan Dupuis in the 11th car. The rookie, he is being scored second now. Did not pit on the last cycle. There's the 33 car right behind. The 33 not on the lead lap. That's Greg Stewart back in 13th. There's St.Amant with Hoffman. This battle is for 4th spot. Mike Miller there in 6th. St.Amant is 4th. Hoffman is 5th. Miller in 6th as they come off of 2. Lapping by Jack Landis's machine. Landis back in 16th. He had gotten one of his laps back. He lost 4 early on. The pole sitter here today. Cut down a tire very quickly. Had to go to pit road. Lost 4 laps. Got 1 back. Now has lost that 1 lap once again. But not doing badly up in 13th spot. On board with Miller. It is tight when they have to drop down to that low groove there going into 3 and 4. A lot of brake work being done there. Tim Sauter taking advantage of the open racetrack to stretch it out a little bit over Dupuis. The 2 car of Chad Wood riding right behind him. Wood is not on the lead lap. He's back in the 15th spot. A couple of laps down. Right now, Sauter's got this thing going his way.
I do believe a guy by the name of Gary St.Amant is making the charge, however, Rick, as he is amongst this pack and already passed Brandon Sperling, who did not pit last time through. So just ahead of these guys, St.Amant's, I think, the guy on the move.
Sperling may be regretting the decision not to pit because he's getting passed now by Hoffman and by Mike Miller, and Mike Garvey's coming up on him in the 1 car. So Sperling deciding to stay out, and it looks like he needs tires. Here comes Jimmie Johnson as well, although he's pushing way up high. Garvey is on the move in the 1. That is a very strong race car.
I was just going to mention his off-road experience came into play there as he's saved it once again. He's a champion in off-road trucks.
Brandon Sperling, and there's Rick Beebe, who led a bunch of laps in the 23 car. He's starting to get it back pointed in the right direction here as we reach the middle third of this one this afternoon. There's Garvey, Landis, the lap car in the 07, Sperling in the 40, back to 7th spot. Let's take a look up ahead. Here's the 11 of Dupuis hanging on to 2nd, but Gary St.Amant says, hey, move over, pal, I'm coming by, and there he goes. The 98 Series champion takes over 2nd spot. Dupuis hanging on in 3rd. Got to look at Tristan Dupuis' resume. He's put together quite a nice record up in the state of Michigan. Local racer, just jumping out of the ASA stage this year, but won a ton of features up in Michigan.
A lot of Legends car driving, a lot of late model experience, and Tristan is trying to put together a full season, looking for major sponsorship along with some other teams, but very energetic young man who was very active in seeking us out and telling us all about his career, but certainly a personable young man.
Looks like he's got a lot of ability behind the wheel of that 11 car. There's Hoffman in the 5, Mike Miller in the 18 as they fight for 4th spot. Dupuis is 3rd in the 11. The 33 car in the mix there is back in 13th. A couple of laps down. It's Drake Stewart. Mike Garvey at the moment in the 1, riding 6th, content to sit there. Butch, you're in the middle third of a 300-lap race. Do you want to just ride, keep the car underneath you at this point?
Well, yes, it's not time to really go for the big beating and banging to get to the front. It's not that time yet.
St.Amant dives on a pit road in the 7. We got to look at him from the bumper cam of the Jani-King machine. He may have a tire down. He comes down on the pit road. Crew goes to the left side. They get the jack underneath. Brian Drever, are you close by?
Indeed I am, Rick. The Gary St.Amant crew has come in with a cut-down left rear tire. They have to pick the car up physically in order to get the jack underneath and start working on it. That's what their job is right now. This is a very, very sad turn of events for Gary St.Amant, the defending champion of the AC Delco Challenge Series. Now they finally have the jack underneath after some very concerted manual labor using the big guy method to get that car in the air.
St.Amant is down and away. Took him a while to take care of that left rear tire, so St.Amant drops off the lead lap. Live Desoto Speedway, Bradenton, Florida, the season opener for the ASA AC Delco Challenge Series live on TNN Motorsports. Trouble up in 3 and 4, the 00 car. Andy Ponstein from Grand Haven, Michigan in the wall. A couple of other cars involved as well. The 77 of David Doran got into the back end of the machine. So we are under caution for the 4th time today. Tim Sauter back on the racetrack. A lot of leaders on pit road. Let's go downstairs. Brian Drever.
Well, Tim Sauter in the lead car came in to change left side tires, a long overdue stop. They had said that if they did not get a caution quickly, they would change the right sides again and then come back in and change the left. The caution came out soon enough for them to put the other 2 tires on the car. Of course, he's no longer the lead car, but he did get in and out very quickly.
Most everybody in the front group did take advantage of the opportunity to come on pit road and get 2 new tires, as Brian mentioned. Jimmie Johnson coming back on the road. And wow, the 00 Ponstein, he got into the wall very hard. A lot of damage to the right front quarter. Let's show you how it happened. Going down into 3. Ponstein on that flat part transition already around and into the wall.
Yeah, and I think you'll see another car come in here, gets up in the marbles and can't stop to avoid it.
Ricky Johnson in the 22. There's St.Amant on the 7 and the 03 of Alexander. Everybody brake checking. The 77 of Doran goes high to get around him, but he ran out of racetrack there too. So a couple of cars involved in this latest skirmish. Ponstein's car really took a heavy shot into the wall.
He had some earlier damage.
We'll show it to you from Ken Alexander's view of the 03. Hear that call. The caution's out. Doesn't take much to upset the apple cart, does it?
Okay, all right. Not much. And it looked like he might have had a little bit too much foot brake in there when he stepped on it and turned him around.
Welcome back to Desoto Speedway in Bradenton, Florida. Rick Benjamin, Jim Trado, Butch Miller upstairs. Brian Drever is down below on pit road for us today. We're live on TNN Motorsports, the 99 season opener for the ASA AC Delco Championship Challenge Series. Mike Garvey and Mike Miller are fighting it out for 3rd spot. Garvey in the black number 1, Miller in the black 18, and Eddie Hoffman in the 5, all right in there. 3, 4, and 5 on the racetrack. Drive board with Mike Miller taking a look ahead now. Comes Racing number 1 of Garvey, who has done a nice job today. Garvey came from 13th starting spot to get to 3rd. They try to work by the much slower car, the 93 of Alec Pinsino. Car damaged in a wreck earlier. Most of the front sheet metal's gone off that car. Garvey gets by him on the front stretch. Miller follows. They are running 3rd and 4th. Derek Gilchrist is still out in front of the 52. Jimmie Sauter is 2nd in the 9. And here comes Mike Miller taking a look to the inside. Can't quite get it done. Hoffman watching things back there in 5th spot. Garvey spent 17 laps out in front of the field today. Gilchrist in the 52 now has allowed St.Amant to get by, so give Gary St.Amant back one of his laps to the leader. I don't think St.Amant is done this afternoon, Butch.
No, he's not. And, you know, you asked me earlier about when it was time to move. Well, it's time for Gary St.Amant to move, and he's going to have to work on getting the 2 more laps back.
If the cautions fall well for him here in the next 120 laps, he might have a shot. We'll see what happens. There is St.Amant in the 7 car. He has scored 13th. Just having passed the race leader, Derek Gilchrist, in the 52. But Gilchrist is comfortably out front. He's got almost a 1.5 seconds on the 2nd place driver, Sauter. About, call it 10 car lengths as they whistle down into turn 3.
I would say he's in a mighty fine classroom as well. With St.Amant allowing to get by, now Gilchrist can follow Gary, pick up his braking points. And Butch, I would think that's invaluable for a driver in his first race in ASA.
It is, and Gary's a great teacher. He's a smooth driver, knows where to put the car at all times. You know, he's a proven champion.
Let's take a look back at Rick Beebe in the 23, the Meyer Stores machine. Beebe led a bunch of laps early. He is back in 7th right now. Ricky Johnson in the 22, the white car, the other Herzog machine, is in 6th. Beebe 7th. The 40 of Sperling, who had problems and had to pit with a cut tire. He stayed on the lead lap, and he is back in 8th. So he has done a nice job today. They shuffle by the Coca-Cola machine, Russ Tuff. Johnson has gained 5 spots since the start. The great motocross stadium truck driver doing a nice job in his ASA debut.
Speaking of resumes, his is about 3 pages long. The accomplishments he's had. He started riding motorcycles at age 9, and I think he was a factory Yamaha rider when he was 16 already.
Real interesting story. He and Jimmie Johnson are teammates at Herzog Motorsports this year, and they're not related, but they know each other very well. They're both from El Cajon, California. Ricky rode a motorcycle that came out of Jimmie Johnson's parents' bike shop back years ago. So they've been racers and friends, competitors for a long time. As we watch Beebe and Ricky Johnson battle it out for 6th. Coming up on 100 to go. They'll put lap 198 on the board next time around. Gilchrist and Sauter still out in front. This is your battle for 6th. There's Gilchrist moving by Pierre Goulet's 43 car. Gilchrist staying safely down low. He is right there with Gary St.Amant. Show you the distance back to the 2nd place car, the 9, and Tim Sauter. Still about a 1.5 seconds. Dave Sensiva down through the infield. More damage to the 6 car. He got into somebody's automobile or the wall, I guess, a moment ago.
I missed it. I just caught the very end of his spin. It looked like it hit something, but I can't figure out what.
And Sensiva staying in some measure of speed, not willing to come out of pit road, but he may be risking a black flag. He's trailing a lot of sheet metal off the right front corner of that race car.
A testament to the fiberglass bodies, Rick, as they try to keep them together. They actually put Kevlar in the body panels themselves to keep them together, but when you rub it on the racetrack and bounce it along, it will come apart.
We called it sheet metal, but you're right, it is indeed fiberglass. You can see the bungee cord where they bungeed the front end of that car back together the last time he came to pit road. And there's the piece of fender that came off the 6 car. So Dave Sensiva brings out the 5th caution of the afternoon. The leaders, no doubt, will want to go to pit road. We'll come back and cover it for you right after this. Back live at Desoto Speedway, Bradenton, Florida, on TNN Motorsports, the ASA AC Delco Challenge Series, the season opening Jani-King 300 today. And we're glad to have you with us. Caution on the speedway for Dave Sensiva. A lot of the leaders on pit road. We take a look at Mike Miller's car. Some elected not to stop. Jimmie Johnson in the 44, who led early, started second today. Apparently out of brakes, can't get the 44 car stopped on pit road. He comes around again to try to come to the attention of his crew. They're trying to catch him, and they finally get him reeled in. They want to put some tires on that car. We were noticing how loose that machine was. As they wheel him back, they will dump some fuel as well, it looks like, into the Pennzoil Chevrolet. This is going to cost him a tremendous amount of time.
And he did have a loose race car, and he lost position. They came in what we thought may have been the last pit stop. He came in very late and lost a lot of track position. So even to compound that, without the brakes, he'll have a poor finish.
This season, you had the opportunity to win a Uniden Bearcat scanner along with a one-year Racers Frequency membership from Racing Electronics. Get your name and address on a postcard to Racing Electronics, P.O. Box 241921. That's in Charlotte, North Carolina, 28224. We'll announce the winner during each ASA telecast here on TNN all year long. Send in your card today. Crew folks using those Racing Electronics radios to keep in touch with their drivers. There you see the spotters gathered here at Desoto Speedway talking to their drivers as we get ready to saddle up for the last 75 laps of competition here today. 211 of 300 laps complete. And Dan Spence shows them 1 to go till green, so we'll have 88 make it before the checkered flag falls here this afternoon. Just a sprint race from here on out, boys. Mike Miller will have the restart pole. Garvey, Hoffman, Gilchrist, Johnson, and Beebe behind him with Tim Sauter on the lead lap in 7th. Then you have Sperling and Tristan Dupuis in 9th, and those 9 cars are all on the lead lap. St.Amant is 10th, 2 laps down, and Mike Miller leads him out of turn 4. Green flag is back out. We're back underway, and we'll see if Garvey can do anything with Mike Miller here in the last 80, 85, 88 laps. Miller all alone opens up a couple of car lengths through 3 and 4. Hoffman and Gilchrist come together. It's the 5 and the 52. You can see a little bit of black paint now on the right front corner of the 52 car. Gilchrist had led a bunch of laps earlier. There's Ricky Johnson in the 22. He is 6th. There's your leader, Miller, coming off the 4.
What we're seeing in this pack, Rick, may be the battle for the championship and the rookie standings throughout the year. The Pat Shar Memorial Rookie of the Year standings, $50,000 for the winner of that. Hoffman's declared a rookie. Gilchrist in 4th as a rookie, as is Ricky Johnson in the 22.
Very strong class of first-year drivers for ASA this year, no doubt about that. There's Rick Beebe and Tim Sauter. They are fighting it out for 5th. Beebe, who led early on today, getting going once again on the Meyer Stores Pontiac. Second time the series is run here. He was 5th in this one a year ago. Not the season opener for ASA last year. The race run in May. Hoffman in the 5 car running 3rd. Gilchrist is 4th. Back, caution on the speedway. You just saw at the end of it anyway. Tristan Dupuis in the 11, spinning coming out of turn 4. Dave Sensva coming down to him and almost, well, I guess he did make some contact because this is about the 4th time that poor Sensva's had to bring that car out of pit road with the front wheels turned in opposite directions today.
If he can be in the wrong place at the right time, he's figured out how to do it. It's one of those days, and I don't know, I wouldn't just maybe think about leaving it right where it is right now.
I've had enough. I'm going home. Dave Sensiba brings the car back down pit road, and, well, they've taken a look, and maybe that is what they're going to decide to do because the front bars are bent seriously. We'll show you how this happened coming out of turn 4. Tristan Dupuis in the 11 machine loses it, just backs it around coming off the 4th corner, gets the brakes on, woes it down, doesn't hit the wall, and here's Sensiba.
Poor old Dave, there he is.
Good thing this is a short track where the speeds are relatively slow because he was headed right for the driver's door. Managed to get the 6 pretty well stopped before there was light contact there.
Back in Georgia. So if he can keep it together, I think he's the only guy in major motorsports that can put 3 wins together in the initial start of the series.
And Michael Andretti tried to do it in the kart FedEx Champ Cars a couple of weeks ago and failed. Safety car is in, looking for a restart here on lap 246. There'll be 54 to go, and we are back underway. Miller out in front of the 18. Beebe in the 23 is 2nd. Hoffman in the 5 right there in 3rd. And there's Sauter in the blue and white 9. He is 4th. They dive into 3. Beebe takes a look to the low side. Can't get it going.
Well, it's time to start those moves now, I believe. And I think you're going to see a little bit of it. You're going to see some blue paint on the black car, some black paint on the yellow car, some yellow paint on that front white car.
Gary St.Amant back there in the 7. He is 10th. He is a couple of laps down. After a cut tire early, St.Amant would be right in the thick of this thing, too, if he hadn't had that misfortune befall him earlier. Here's Beebe working over Miller as they come off of 4. Miller able to hang on. Track position being so critical here, there'll be 50 to go this time by. Would you bother to stop if we had another caution, or would you stay put?
Absolutely not. That's why I think Garvey made a mistake. He could have been right there with those guys. And this race isn't going to be over until the last lap, I'm sure.
Garvey is back in 6th, but we can't see him in our picture at the moment here. The leader's out of 4.
He's the 9th car in line from the leader on back, guys, so he did make a call that will pay off if indeed we go green the rest of the way. He's only 3 cars behind the lead lap battle up front.
Miller in the 18, Beebe. There's Hoffman in the 5, and Sauter. St.Amant 5th in line, but not 5th in the race. We've had 6 leaders so far today with 8 lead changes. 53 laps of caution. At the moment, 9 cars on the lead lap. And there are 4 of them right there. Beebe looks up, and Miller goes around. Mike Miller loses it in the 18. Spins up in 3, yellow on the speedway. And Mike Miller just loses a great shot at leading this field home to the checkered flag. He's not done by any means, but a spin there in that situation, spinning the car to get it pointed in the right direction, I would think you'd have to flat spot the tires.
Well, no, that doesn't flat spot the tires at all, because they're always rolling while they're making all that smoke. So no harm, but that's too bad. Mike was running a great race, and it's late. It's hard to pass right now. I don't know if he can get back up front.
Now, Beebe, some fans apparently think there might have been some contact. I don't see any paint on the front of Beebe's car. I didn't think he got into him.
I see more paint on the back of his car than I do the front. So maybe he was trying to avoid. Mike might have just lost that thing. There's no paint there.
That is the most treacherous part of this racetrack by far. That's where just about all the action has been today. Miller comes blasting up through the pack now for the restart. And it may be that he'll drop in behind the pace car. I'll show it to you again. Looked like it just got away from him.
Well, I'm not sure, as I didn't see daylight underneath Mike's back tires way in that corner. So I think I might have been wrong. It looked like Mike might have stepped on the brakes a little bit hard right here. And you're going to see, well...
there it is.
See the air under there?
That'd be a capital C on the word contact, guys.
There you go. Good shot that time. Guys downstairs in our truck doing a great job getting those pictures for you. Pace car is headed in. We should be ready to go green. There'll be 28 laps to go when we come down the front stretch and take the green from Dan Spence. Rick Beebe, the restart leader once again. Eddie Hoffman will go 2nd. Sauter in the 9 is 3rd. Then Mike Garvey and Brandon Sperling. Eric Gilchrist will restart 6th. Here's the green flag. Beebe from Kansas, the Rocket Man, off and going to turn 1. And look at Sauter, and Sperling can't come up to speed. Sauter to the inside of Hoffman, bidding for 2nd spot. He's going to get him. Here comes Garvey. Garvey's going to shove his way by to take over 3rd. So move Eddie Hoffman back to 4th off the restart. He and Sperling rough fenders as they come off the corner. Beebe is out in front.
You know, it looks like I might have been wrong about the 1 car. You know, I said he shouldn't have pitted.
It's starting to look like it may fall his way here.
Yes.
But he's got 2 machines to get by. Eddie Hoffman's hanging right in there in the 5. Here's Mike Miller trying to come back up through. Gary St.Amant quickly to pit road. Miller with body work flying in the breeze. We'll take a look on board. His right front fender's peeling away. And a spin. Dupuis goes around. Fair goes around. The 77 is involved. The 33 of Stewart up at the 4th corner. Dupuis gets back on the gas. That is the part of the racetrack where the patchwork was done that has given everybody fits. We've got more damaged race cars, and we're back under yellow. 25 to go, and the caution flies once again. The 77 of David Doran refiring. He has spun several times. His car, one of the least damaged of the vehicles that has gone around or gone into the wall here today, but you can see the front of the car bungee together, and there's the Miller machine. They're going to have to pit, I would think, and take that fender off the car. And for him to have to pit again this late in the race, Butch, and to have to lose that bodywork and the aero situation, I would think that would not be a good sign for him.
No, it's not. It's too bad because he had such a good day going. Looked like he was going to win the race, and now he's going to finish tail end of the lead lap, looks like.
So Mike Miller contemplating a pit stop. We'll show you again what happened up in 3 and 4. Here's Miller with the bodywork flying. Tristan Dupuis in the 11 right behind him. They break for the third corner, and Mike gets underneath the 11 car that time and sends him spinning.
Well, I guess what goes around comes around or whatever, but I saw Mike going in the corner looking like that just a little bit earlier.
He was on the receiving end of that bunt from Rick Beebe the last time by. Here it is from another angle.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
I guess it's starting to be a little frustrating day for Mike.
While this was going on, guys, Derek Gilchrist, who was in the top 7, came down pit lane. They wanted to bring him back out to keep lead lap status, but they couldn't refire the car, so he had a problem. Thought he came in under green, so a big blow to the 52 team.
We didn't see it a moment ago, but after the last restart, he didn't come up to speed right away, so there may be a gearbox problem in that car. On pit road, Mike Miller quickly to pit road. Brian Drever.
He's got the camera.
Yes, he did. We won't be able to see Brian Drever because our camera ended up upside down on pit road. That's a shot that we will want to save for a while. Mike Miller's crew pulling that bodywork away. And Mike took off quickly to try to stay on the lead lap. And in doing so, our camera cable got snagged. 18 laps to go to settle it today at Desoto Speedway in Bradenton, Florida. The ASA AC Delco Challenge Series, the season opener for 1999. Rick Beebe in the 23 is your leader. Tim Sauer in the 9 is second. Derek Gilchrist in the 52. His day coming a cropper here late in the going. He gets lapped once again. Your lead cars right there. 1, 2, and 3. The 1 car of Mike Garvey is third. The 5 of Eddie Hoffman is fourth. The 40, Brandon Sperling, rides fifth as they go up to put lap 284 on the scoreboard. And a spin. Jimmie Johnson goes around in the Pennzoil Chevrolet up in turn 4. Johnson keeps it refired. He's backing up. Traffic trying to get by him. Yellow waving once again. Jimmie gets it spun in the right direction. Nice move.
Just like Joey Chitwood taught him.
Bet he learned that move on a motorcycle years ago.
Joey Chitwood actually operates out of a racetrack not too far from here in St. Petersburg, so maybe he took some tips and spent a few days down.
He missed 1 point because he killed the motor.
That's right. That's right. Guys come out from the pit crew, from pit lane to help Jimmie get refired. The Herzog Motorsports crew jumping into action there.
One thing about that crew, Howie Letto leads that crew, but they also brought on board Paul Chrisman, who was Mike Garvey's crew chief of a year ago, so a lot of experience on the 44 team.
Sorry about that.
Johnson back up through the gearbox. We take a look at the inside of the 44 car.
Right doing a cop stop, but you need
Show it to you one more time as Johnson worked through 3 and 4. This is Ricky Johnson with Brandon Sperling and Jack Landis. Jimmie going high. Remember, that car doesn't have brakes. I suspect he just went in there a little too quickly. Nice car control to keep it gathered up.
He did a great job, but that's a couple times I've seen him in the outside groove, and I suppose it has something to do with brakes, but I can't believe you could run around here lap after lap without hitting anything with no brakes.
Well, maybe they were able to fix it, but remember on pit road, they had to catch the car. He brought it in twice and had to roll around a second time because they couldn't get the car stopped. So we'll have to check that out and see if, in fact, Johnson was able to restore some braking power to the 44 car. To the restart on lap 291. Beebe by a car length over Sauter. Garvey in the 1 car, a couple of car lengths further back, and Beebe stretches it just a little. What's going through your mind, Butch Miller? You're leading with less than 10 to go.
Well, you've got to protect the bottom, and it's not. You feel a lot better when you've got a car length or 2 to spare. We got a little trouble over in 3 and 4 again. Car spinning.
He gets off the racetrack, though. That's one of the Pizzano machines, and the green will stay out. It's Alan Pizzano in the 39 who's had some problems this afternoon. Still green, no change up front. Beebe and Sauter are 1 and 2. They will lap by the wounded car of Gary St.Amant, who has really hung tough today with a very adverse set of circumstances. Cut tire and a caution. The 2 of Chad Wood goes around. Wood has lost the remaining front bodywork off that car now. And that is the 3rd or 4th time that machine has been in trouble here today. He's also got rear bodywork damage, so I would think that would end his afternoon here.
This is a terrible thing. If you're Beebe right now, this is a terrible thing to have happen, because just about the time you start feeling comfortable, you don't have any traffic in front of you, and you think, okay, I can win this thing, all of a sudden you have a yellow and they're right back on your bumper again.
close things up. Lap 294 goes on the board. Next trip around will be 295, and with that 5 green rule, we'll hold at 295, and they'll take the green with 5 more laps of green flag racing to be run here this afternoon. And we're told the black flag has been shown to Mike Miller. Boy, a great afternoon has just gone downhill quickly for the 2-time season opening winner. Trying for 3 straight today. Miller was in command not very long ago, but now he's being black flagged.
Well, I believe it's for a position on the racetrack.
Jump the restart, yeah.
He was sneaking up there a little bit. You know, I watched him before the green came out.
The 10th spot. Now he's 7 laps down, but he has driven a nice race to stay up and get himself into a possible top 10 finish. Green flag. Here's the battle for the lead. This will be lap 296. Beebe in the 23-year leader. The 9 of Sauter is second. 4 laps to go. Sauter looks low. Can't do it. Garvey in third, about another car length back. Hoffman is fourth. Sauter right up on the back bumper of Beebe. Butch, where would you try a move here?
Well, that's got to be when
caution on the speedway. Trouble again in turn 3 and 4.
All right, we're getting a crash here. Caution's out.
Ken Alexander spinning, running in 10th, as you mentioned, Rick. It almost has to be a victory to come home in one piece as a rookie in your first ASA race.
But he may not get to do that. There's damage to the left front corner of the car. Alexander brings the car down onto pit road to the attention of his crew. So we hold at lap 297.
That's what I've been fighting all day. That old stuff on there, the car wouldn't hold. It just speeded up when I went off down in there.
Alexander talking on the radio.
When they go back green, you think you can drive it for about 3 laps? But you got to do something to it. What can you do? Spend a lot of steering stuff, but if we can run like 3 laps when they go green, yeah, we'll be in the way.
Alexander saying we're going to be in the way if we try to go back out there with 3 to go. Safety car coming in. We're going to go green here next time around. There's 3 laps remaining. And we'll show it to you quickly one more time before Beebe comes to the stripe. Alexander,
there you go.
Yeah, Alexander getting up high, coming off of 4. And that's been a tough spot today. Jimmie Johnson spun there just a moment ago. Ready to go green. 3 laps of racing remaining. Beebe, Sauter, and the 1 of Garvey down into turn 1. Beebe trying to hold it low. Sauter looks underneath it and can't do it. 2 laps remaining. This time by Dan Spence has the 2 flags in hand. 2 to go.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen going into the...
Oh, Beebe's lips high. He's got a cut tire.
Oh, no.
Beebe gets out of shape and in the wall. That will cost him the race. Sauter grabs the lead, and it may bring out yet another caution. Well, I guess not. Beebe is able to stay out. The white flag is flying.
To race around that tire in the middle of the backstretch.
He peeled the right front tire right off the rim. Tim Sauter now with Mike Garvey. Sauter nails the tire. Wild finish here at DeSoto. Sauter will come to the stripe. The checkered flag will wave, and Tim Sauter is your winner. Sauter in car number 9 takes the victory. Garvey gets second. There's the tire that came off of Beebe's machine. Rick Beebe loses the race with 2 to go when he loses the right front tire of the 23 car, and Tim Sauter is there to score the win. There you see the shredded rubber, the shredded rim that Beebe is riding on. He comes around to take the checkered flag. Beebe scored back an 8th spot on 3 wheels. Sauter is your winner. What a wild way to close the 1999 ASA AC Delco Challenge Series season opener. Wow.
What a finish. I love this ASA racing.
I'll tell you, it was in doubt up until the final few seconds here today. Looked like Rick Beebe was going to cruise home. Sauter's there to cash in when Beebe has tire failure on the right front corner. Tim Sauter cuts the celebratory donut down the main straightaway, and he'll come down to victory lane. Show it to you one more time. Rick Beebe leading on the restart with 2 laps remaining. And look at that. He went right into the outside wall coming off of 4.
I missed that on the restart. Oh, my.
Now, we saw Tristan Dupuis spin off of turn 4. Did he maybe get on the gas too soon? Beebe maybe wanting to distance himself, knowing turn 1 is the passing point, trying to get away from Sauter?
Hard to say. Maybe the tire was going away at that point, and maybe that kicked him into the wall. We'll have to try to find out for you. Meantime, victory lane. Tim Sauter is about to climb out of his machine to the applause of his Build-A-Mold Trim Floss crew. Take a look at that tire. That's the rubber that came off the 23 car. It almost cost Sauter there because he clipped it down the backstretch.
If you would have hit that maybe with the front of the car, the center of the car, who knows what could have happened, but the last 50 laps certainly gave you your money's worth here at DeSoto.
I don't think he pulled his foot out of the gas, though, when he hit that thing.
And good news, all the damage that was done to the race cars here today, our camera in the infield apparently lives. Tim Sauter out of the race car, ready to grab the trophy. Put the hats on in victory lane and talk to our Brian Drummond.
Tell him to take that piece of tape off his ear.
Okay, guys, up in the booth, I'm with Tim Sauter. Tim, I think might characterize this as a lot of hard work and a little good luck.
A lot of hard work, a lot of good luck. Something we don't have very often, but man, we've been trying hard. All the last couple of years, we've been up and down. I know I can drive. I know this team can do it. It's the first win for AP Performance, Alec Pinsino, Build-A-Mold, Trim Plaz, Mold Plaz. We're Chevrolet helping me out this year. Larry, I told you I'd win one for you. I want to say hi to my wife and kids back home. Sorry you couldn't be here.
Tim, how big were your eyes going up into turn one up there when you saw Rick heading up towards the wall?
Well, the last yellow, our last restart, I seen Rick was getting loose. And the way he started a little high, got loose and tagged the wall. I was just waiting for a hole, you know, without boogering him up too bad.
Congratulations. A great run for you and a great way to open the season.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Guys.
Great victory for Tim Sauter in car number 9 today, and it doesn't get any more exciting than that, gentlemen.
Certainly was great. Last year we saw the closest finish in the season. Now we saw one of the most exciting finishes ASA has seen in a number of years. All the drama playing out in the last 50 or so laps.
We thought Rick Beebe had this one sewed up, Butch.
I thought it was his race, and unfortunately it didn't work out that way.
Take a look at the top 10. Tim Sauter, your winner. Mike Garvey scores second. Eddie Hoffman's rookie ride begins with a third. Then Ricky Johnson, another first-year driver. Mike Miller comes back for 5th. Brandon Sperling. Tristan Dupuis, a first-year driver with a very nice run to 7th. Rick Beebe has scored 8th. Jack Landis came back from that early mishap when he went 4 laps down to clip off 9th. And Jimmie Johnson gets 10th. And there you see Beebe's machine. Tough way to lose one. Wheel gone, tire gone from the car, and Beebe finishes on 3 wheels. What a way to finish the season opener for the ASA AC Delco Challenge Series here at DeSoto Speedway. Two-way communications equipment for the AC Delco Challenge Series is provided by Racing Electronics, the official communications of American Speed Association. ASA Racing is produced for television by Silver Fox Sports in Charlotte, North Carolina. ExperienceCountry.com, your personal source for all things country. For Brian Drebber, Jim Trado, Butch Miller, I'm Rick Benjamin. Thanks for watching on TNN Motorsports. We'll see you next Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern and Pacific on Race Day.